fetishes, right? There's tons of fetishes. And my whole 31 years of being a dominatrix, I've done foot fetish, leg fetish, ass worship, PVC, leather, latex, whips, canes. There's all fetishes for all different things. I particularly enjoy smoking fetish. There's nothing I enjoy more as having a nice old cigarette, having a submissive put it in my mouth, have a submissive light my lighter, light my cigarette. I take a few drags of it, blow smoke in this submissive's face, and then when I need them, I tell them to kneel down next to me no matter where I am, public, party, wherever, and to use your fucking mouth as an ashtray. That to me is a smoking slave. That to me is the utmost extreme smoking fetish I could ever imagine. I love to force submissives to actually smoke cigarettes who don't even smoke cigarettes in the first place. Why? Because I think it's great. If they want to be on the same page as me, you're going to fucking smoke a cigarette whether you fucking like it or not. Why? Because mistress says so. That's why. So, a fetish, right? Now, leather, latex, feet. Now, it could also be a sex act, a behavior, or even a dynamic between partners, right? A foot fetish, for instance, would not just derive extra pleasure from touching, licking, or seeing feet during sex. Instead, they may only want to interact sexually with feet to the exclusion of other things. They may not engage in any penetrative act at all, but would still draw sexual gratification from licking someone's feet, sucking someone's toes, having bastonado done to their feet, which is extreme foot tickling torture, where your toes are bound by little ropes hanging from these look it up, bastonado. It's pretty interesting. It's extreme foot torture with a little bit of tickle torture in the mix. So here's your feet kind of being strung up by your toes with these little ropes on these little sticks, right? And there's someone either tickling the soles of your feet or taking little canes and crops and kind of beating your feet, the soles of your feet, and maybe pricking your feet with needles. It depends. It depends on your dynamic. If you're interested in pain and you like foot worship, this could go kind of handy. You can lay a submissive on the floor who's interested in feet, and you can take your bare feet and walk all over them and do face trampling. You can take your bare feet and kick them in the balls. That's ball busting. You can definitely put them in your feet and do, on your feet and have them suck your toes and do a human foot bath, which is a submissive who lays at the end of a mistress's bed and basically licks and sucks all of her toes clean. Soles, everything, even her feet are dirty and smelly. They don't care. These foot guys, they just get off mentally on licking some stanky, raunchy feet, okay? So it doesn't matter if your feet smell or whatever. There are guys that really like to do that. Now, is someone aroused by licking someone's feet? Absolutely. That's what they call a foot fetish. These are fellas or women, or anybody for that matter who identifies as whatever, that has an extreme foot fetish. They love looking at women with painted toenails and open-toe shoes, women walking around in the summertime wearing sandals. This is like a foot fetish's delight. They literally have an overabundance of feet. They don't know what to do with themselves. Most of the time when people see feet like that, they kind of run off and scurry off and jerk off somewhere because they can't handle the amount of feet that's being thrown at them. Now, it's kind of interesting. The word fetish can also be used to describe a type of object that is conferred to magical powers. That's how you can think of it in a reference to sex. Some people have objects or body parts that are sexually enticing to them and hold power over them in a way that is out of the ordinary. I'm going to make a suggestion. Sissies, when they look at like men's dicks and men's cocks, they have what's called a cock worshipping fetish. They will go to any single male they can find that is willing to show them their nice meat pole, and they will sit there and worship that cock. Now, when you're a sissy and you're in sissy training, and you have like a male dom or mistress, a female mistress, who wants a sissy to learn how to be a good cocksucker, they will make the sissy worship a cock, whether it's a dildo first or a woman wearing a strap-on. You are to look up at that mistress or master and tell them how you are going to worship this cock. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to start off by the testicles and work your way up the shaft. And what you're going to be doing is, while you're looking up at me, or another male dom for that matter, you're going to be looking up and saying, "Oh, mistress," or "Oh, master, I love how this cock tastes in my mouth. I'm going to lick it up the shaft and suck on the head." These are all things that sissies should be doing when they want to show a mistress or a male dom that they can become an avid cock worshiper. So to them, they are addicted to cock through what's called a cock fetish, right? So it seems strange, but it really is true to some degree. Cock fetishes, cock-sucking fetish, there's a cum-eating fetish, and what a better way to train a sissy is to get them to jerk off to mistress or master only. Then they get to save their hot, creamy banana batter or man chowder on the side. And then mistress or master would kind of spoon feed it to them, or mix it in their coffee or tea, or slowly integrate it into their body. Why? It's because you want to force them to do something. So repetitive action makes these sissies who are learning to be good cock worshippers. If you want to worship a cock fully, you better learn how to eat semen, because that's number one. That's going to be happening regardless of who's doming you. That's something all sissies should have embedded in their brain. Cock worshipping, bull worshipping, cum worshipping. These all are on like one whole wavelength of things. So this is what they're going to be forced and instilled in their brain. So like the whole mental mindfuckery, getting your sissy to suck a dildo for the first time. How many sissies listening to the show tonight are sitting home right now with a dildo attached to their bathroom wall, on their hands and knees, waiting to suck that big dildo, just to prove to yourself that you can actually suck a dick? I bet you there's a whole bunch of you at home right now sitting there doing all this crazy stuff. How many of you are backing up into this cock that you stuck on the wall with a suction cup, wondering, like reenacting your own glory hole, putting yourself in the mix? Could you bend over and take a real cock up your ass? Could you bend over and take a real dildo up your ass? Well, either way, if you've never had any of these things done before, it's a very good idea to do some anal training, okay? So anal training is actually considered a fetish. These are for people, or kink, these are for people who are needing to do this type of play. They need it so much in their life that they will be willing to do anything to get this type of play, right? So, in the long run, the sissies who want to be cock worshippers, mistress and masters will force you to do this stuff. So, it's best if you get ahead of it by yourself. Like, do some training, like mouth training, cock-sucking training, anal training. Make sure you have a chastity device on, because each mistress and master is definitely going to lock up that little pathetic meat you call a dick between your legs. And they're going to lock it up and throw away the key. Why? Because it's no longer useful for you. Once you put on a sissy dress and you put on bright red slutty lipstick, you are no longer a man. You are a sissified cunt in training, okay? Which means your pathetic piece of meat between your legs is forever locked away and the key is thrown away. Why? Because it's useless. So now your newfound purpose is dressing like a girl, pretending to be a girl, getting fucked like a girl, and sucking dick like a girl. These are all the things that you're going to need to learn to be the best sissy you can be, okay? Most people think sissification is a fetish. It is. But it's also a kink, and it's also a lifestyle. There are people who really enjoy being sissified by women. And I mean not just putting on outfits and parading around like you're a hot piece of trash. it's more than that. It's being put on hormones, getting your name changed legally, whether you're deciding you want to be post-op, pre-op, whatever. If you really want to be a true sissy, you got to be completely feminized to the max, which means you are not allowed to wear man clothes. You're only allowed to wear women's clothes. You're going to suck dick like a bitch. You're going to take cock in your pussy like a bitch, and all these different things. And yeah, you're going to be monitored, and you're going to be like a fuck doll for either mistress or master, which means you are not allowed to tell mistress or master what you want to do in your manly or your sissy life. It is completely up to your owner or the dom that you are getting in the good graces of, and what they decide what they're going to do with you. Like bimbofication, for instance. People, there is a bimbo fetish, just like anything else. In the last week's show, we went over a whole different types of different fetishes. Like the fetish is about noses, the fetish is about skin, the fetish is about dolls, the shoe fetish, the lip. Like there's a fetish for everything, right? Okay? No matter how you slice it or dice it, there is tons of different fetishes in this world, and everybody has one. What's yours? The people who are listening to the show tonight, they're probably like, oh, God. Now, here's a one that I really enjoy. Degradation kink. Degradation kink could be considered the opposite of a praise kink. A person with this kink is turned on by being degenerated and degraded by their partner, either through words or through actions, being spit on, face slapped, kicked while you're wearing girly clothes and being pushed down on the ground and being forced to do something that you don't want to do in public. Like, for instance, I've been out in public many a times with submissives on leash and collars, and I would force them down to lick my boots in public, eat gum off my shoe and chew it and swallow it while everyone watches. Being degraded, calling them a dickless loser, telling them that they're better off being a woman because they're useless as a fucking man. They belong to the SPH, the Itty Bitty Clitty Committee with a small penis humiliation group. Telling them that they can't fuck you good enough, that they belong to be a woman, that they're useless as men. I love to say that. Most men are fucking useless anyway. Or being told that, addressing them in a very inappropriate manner and taking them in public. These are all different things that can be done. I, for one, like the spitting and the slapping, the face slapping. I think my whole best thing is making a submissive wear a sign around the neck with a big piece of oak tag that calls them a cocksucking, cum-guzzling, whorebag piece of shit with a kick me sign on their back. To me, that's hilarious because then it becomes more of public humiliation with degradation mixed in, right? Or degraded. You're degraded in public. You can be the most prettiest sissy possible, and your mistress walks by and calls you the worst name under the sun. I've done it. I will gladly say I've done these things in my life, and some of them are fucking hilarious. I mean, look, when I'm in my vanilla life, I can't shut off my dominant streak. It just happens. Just how I am as a person. And if people don't like me the way I am as vanilla, then fuck off. I could care less. That's who I am. I don't know what to tell you. Here's another one. Eproctophillia, which is a furry fetish. All right, a furry kink. It involves dressing up in animal costumes and engaging in sexual play. More like, back in the day, myself and a few mistresses had this dungeon in upstate New York. And there was a couple of submissives in there that used to come in with these, like, poodle costumes on, like a dog costume or a pink elephant or a unicorn. And, we would send them off to the back of the dungeon, and we just like, you guys can stay back here. I don't know if people are ready for this. We went back there, and they were having like a cosplay orgy. There was a guy dressed in a poodle costume he was humping a girl that was dressed as a unicorn, but they had their costumes on, and they just had like a slit in the front, and they were kind of just, exposing the elements. And that's what you call a furry cosplay, or autoplushophilia, Autoplushophilia. I can never pronounce that word. Autoplushophilia.